Hi Canada. Welcome to my home in London, Ontario. I'm very happy with the topic of choice for the second question posed by the CBC, how to deal with the Canadian auto sector crisis. I actually addressed the issue of the Canadian auto industry in my first video, so I'd like to take this time to elaborate on my position. As Prime Minister, the first decision I would need to make is, should the federal government bail out the Canadian auto sector? And if so, what package should it offer? I've spent the last few weeks thinking long and hard about this problem and all of its implications. On the one hand, the industry supports some 400,000 Ontarians, according to Dalton McGuinty, and it's the lifeblood of Windsor, and there are thousands of retirees depending on pensions paid by the big three auto companies. On the other hand, it's quite apparent that the North American auto sector is not competitive due to much higher wage expenses vis-a-vis its Asian counterparts, as well as major mistakes made by executives as to what types of cars to produce, managing expenses, and driving innovation. There is no right or wrong decision to this crisis. The job of the Prime Minister is to balance the welfare of Ontario auto workers with that of all Canadians. As I said in my first video, Canada needs to start making decisions that will benefit us in the future, rather than spur-of-the-moment choices. I believe that bailing out the auto companies will not save Canadian jobs in the long run, and it would only postpone the inevitable. There are three viewpoints that I considered in coming to this decision. The first is that of an investor. As taxpayers, we would all be investors in a bailout plan. Canadian vehicle exports have declined by $10 billion between 2004 and 2007, according to Industry Canada. This trend is likely to continue as demand for North American cars continues to decline unless some major innovation takes place. Ford was trading around the $15 mark in 2004, and now it's trading around $3. GM dropped from over $50 in 2004 to under $5 today. While the auto sector's Asian competitors have also seen falling stock prices as a result of the economic slowdown, it has not been nearly as drastic. The North American auto industry is not going to be competitive for the future, and it would be a poor investment for Canadians' tax dollars. I wouldn't invest in the auto sector personally, and I doubt many of you would either. So why should we invest our tax dollars into these poorly managed companies? The second viewpoint that I've considered is that of a senior citizen of Canada, who has seen many industries rise and fall throughout their lifetime. A bailout of the auto sector would be following Canada's poor track record of protectionism. If you look back in history, you can see that these protectionist policies have damaged Canada over and over again. We need to invest in sunrise industries, not sunset industries. Canadian manufacturing? It fell. Canadian textiles? Fell. Could these industries have been saved by increased government bailouts? Absolutely not. China produces textiles and other products for a fraction of the cost of Canadian companies. Furthermore, Canada has no guarantees that if we do bail out the auto companies, that they will actually keep production facilities in Canada. It's very likely that if the federal government bails out these multinational companies, they will still leave Canada and close plants. Rather than wasting our money trying to save the auto industry, let's invest in new industries that will propel Canada forward, such as furniture, renewable energy, and technology. The Harper government has proposed a $4 billion bailout. Rather than bailing out the big three, Canada could use that $4 billion as seed capital for an industry that has a promising future. We could jumpstart any industry of our choice to ensure that Canada remains competitive. The final perspective that I've considered is that of a Canadian auto worker or retiree. Having visited Windsor a number of times, I have seen the decline of the city, and I sympathize with the hardships that the auto workers are facing. I will not leave the auto workers in the dark. Being a Canadian means supporting other Canadians when they need it. As Prime Minister, I would allocate the $4 billion proposed bailout to three main initiatives. The first, guaranteeing the pensions of former auto workers and establishing government severance packages for those workers that will lose their jobs over the next 5 years. Secondly, developing new retraining programs to prepare workers for their future jobs. And finally, creating a massive grant and subsidy program for entrepreneurs and companies that wish to establish new industries that align with Canada's future, such as furniture, renewable energy, and technology, as I mentioned before. Canada has a bright future, with the potential to lead the world in innovation. But this future will not become a reality by protecting uncompetitive industries against their competition. I truly hope that North American auto companies will get back on track and begin to make smarter investments and create better cars that consumers demand. However, I will not bail them out. I will not allocate Canadian tax dollars to a dying industry without so much as a guarantee that they will ensure that jobs are retained and created in Canada. By investing in Canada, investing in Canadians, and investing in innovative industries, I will ensure that our country has a prosperous future and does not dwell on the past. As Canada's next great Prime Minister, I would take a fresh approach towards industry and lead our country to its fullest potential. Thanks for listening, Canada.